So we're going to be checking out the 12 must-visit regions of France. France is a big country, and of course there's different regions. You know, you got Brittany, right? You got Normandy. I think those are the only two that I actually know off the top of my head. Sorry. Anyways, this is by the channel Les Frenchies. Lay Frenchie? I think it's actually pronounced lay, right? Instead of less. I'm not actually sure. But anyways, the links to the original video will definitely be in the description section down below. And we're going to go ahead and check it out and see what these 12 must-visit regions are. I don't even know how many regions they actually have in France, to be honest with you.
One of the most recurring comments that we get from French people is that Paris is not France. And this is so true. There's so much more to France than just Paris, the French Riviera, and Normandy. From the pink granite cliffs of Bretagne, to the volcanic region of Auvergne, to the medieval fortress of Carcassonne, there's so much more to France than you can imagine, and you need to know about it. So in this video, we're going to tell you about the 12 regions of France, what there is to do there, what there is to see, and especially what you should eat and drink when you're there. Allez, on y va. France.
Okay, so it sounds like it's 12 regions total, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. All right, cool. And his pronunciations, I would assume this guy's actually French. After 32 years in the U.S., the DuPonts moved to France, where Antoine was born. Antoine is rediscovering his homeland and sharing it with his American wife, Colleen. It sounds like he's French. He lived in the United States for a while and then moved back. Okay, here we got Breton. That's why I said that way. So maybe that's just how they say it in French. And they don't even say Brittany. They say Breton. Huh.
France has 13 distinct regions, including Île-de-France. But we're not going to include the Paris region or Île-de-France in this video. But we'll show you the other 12 regions in alphabetical order, and we'll start with the Auvergne-Rhône-Alpes region. This region is 2 hours south of Paris by TGV train and is what we consider here the heart of France. The capital of the region is the city of Lyon, which is the gastronomy epicenter of France. So if you are a foodie, this is a must-visit region.
Okay.
To the west of Lyon is the Auvergne area, which is a lush volcanic area perfect for hikers and especially if you hate crowds.
What do you mean volcanic? There's volcanic areas in France? I did not know that. This looks like an old place too. I mean, look at this old cathedral. That looks incredible.
To the east are the Alps, with some of the best ski slopes in the world. This region is home to several famous kinds of cheese like the Reblochon, Tome de Savoie, and the Emmental. And this is also where the cheese fondue, the raclette, and tartiflette are from. Okay. The famous Chartreuse liquor is made in the region.
I've heard of that. Yeah, chartreuse.
The liquor. Famous chartreuse.
Yeah, this right here. Never drink it. I've heard of it. I've had absinthe. I don't know if this is similar or not. I wonder if it is. Absinthe's definitely pretty good.
Liquor is made in the region. So if you're looking for some of the best food of what France has to offer and you love hiking away from the hustle and bustle of the big cities, this region is for you. To get there, take the 2-hour ride on the TGV high-speed train to Lyon, spend the day in Lyon, and then rent a car to discover the rest of the region.
The next region is Bourgogne-Franche-Comté, or Burgundy. This stunning Côte d'Or is just southeast of Paris and offers views of vineyards, glazed tile roofs, and Romanesque architecture.
I like how she at least, she said like the American, like the English, not American, English version of the names too. She's like, or Burgundy. That's cool. So now I got more, it's more familiar to me because I'm going to hear it being called Burgundy more often than Bourgogne or whatever it was.
Its capital is Dijon, a bustling, busy town, but also an artist village. After all, this is where Gustave Eiffel comes from. And in Dijon, you'll find the iconic Palace of the Duke of Burgundy, which is home to the Beaux-Arts Museum dating back to the late 1700s.
The ceiling, the roof tiles on that was incredible.
And is one of the richest collections in all of France. But what I love best about Burgundy is the small towns and villages all around. This countryside patchwork of small family-owned vineyards who bring their grapes together to create some of the best, and in some cases, the most expensive wines in the world.
I bet.
Like Romanée-Conti, ranging from hundreds of dollars per bottle to thousands of dollars per bottle.
Jeez.
Still, this place is not pretentious. You'll find old towns with medieval streets and half-timber buildings.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is that medieval there? I mean, it looks like it. I mean, in the carvings on the beams, that's really cool.
A strong sense of community and a perfect blend of...
Right here. Yep. That just looks perfect. I'll go back a second. I know people complain a lot about me pausing a lot. Well, I'm reacting. So...
streets and half-timber buildings, a strong sense of community, and a perfect blend of history, culture, and great food. Speaking of food, some of the best-known French dishes come from right here. Beef bourguignon is how you say a Burgundy-style stew in French.
Never had it.
This is where coq au vin comes from, and the typical escargot swimming in garlic butter.
Okay, I've heard of escargot, a snail thing. I don't eat... To me, fancy French cuisine is just... You know, it's not for me, right? Like this escargot and all this fancy, you know. I know French cuisine is like a huge cultural thing, or like a, you know, a huge influence on the food industry in the entire world, really. I'm just an average person, you know. I want cheeseburger, you know, normal foods. I don't need to eat snails and fancy stuff.
And of course, Dijon mustard, which has its own particular history, but that's for another time. For adult beverages, this is the home of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and where they make one of my new favorites,
nice.
Ricard, from the Absinthe family. If you want to visit the Bourgogne region, take the 1.5-hour TGV train ride from Paris, Gare de Lyon to Dijon.
The next region is a place where I spent a lot of summers there as a kid, and that's Bretagne. Bretagne is...
And that's Brittany. See, he doesn't give the English pronunciations, which I don't like that. She does, of course, but she's American, so she's used to, you know, the English pronunciations.
Located on the eastern front of France, on the coast, this region is rich in history and significance for France. This is where France meets Celtic culture. It's very Celtic and absolutely gorgeous. The capital of Brittany is Rennes, but you'll want to travel deep in the region to feel and taste its influence. Being a coastal region, Brittany is famous for seafood like mussels, oysters, scallops, and langoustine. But this is the home of the famous French crepes, or galette, as they call it there.
Love crepes. Another thing I was going to say is, okay, so you got the King Arthur legend, and it's attributed normally to England. But what a lot of people don't realize, which I didn't realize until recently, was that England, so Wales and Brittany, France, basically was like almost like one kingdom, split, of course, by the water, controlled by the French part. And there's a town called, like, I think Bretonne in Brittany, France. I believe, don't quote me on it. And that's where a lot of people think that King Arthur was actually from, and then went across to Wales or whatever. And very, very interesting. I'm thinking about finding a video about that, about the whole King Arthur thing. I kind of do want to, I mean, it's cool, right? So I want to kind of deep dive into the history of that, which of course it's speculation. And I've watched some videos and it's like, was he real? Was he not real? Right? Where was the actual location? There's a few different possible locations from some videos that I've watched. But anyways, that's for another time. We're gonna finish this. But Brittany, France has a lot of cultural, or a lot of ties to the King Arthur legend. So now you know.
And they also produce some of the best salted butter in France, after Normandy, if you ask them. And one of my favorite pastry is from Bretagne, the kouign-amann. This needs to be on your must-try list when you come to France. Brittany is for explorers. if you love medieval towns and thick forest mixed with amazing culinary traditions. To get there, it's a 2.5-hour train to Saint-Malo, and from there, I rent a car and discover the rest of Brittany on my own. Bring some hiking shoes and an appetite. You won't be disappointed here.
The next region is the Centre Val de Loire, which is just south and west of Paris. As its name suggests, this is the valley along the Loire River. Here you'll find fields of grains and flowers, vineyards, and more chateaux than you can imagine, each with their own story of elegant lifestyles, fabulous gardens, and personality.
So that's the fancy part of France, huh?
The capital city is Orleans, but if you continue just a little bit farther southwest to the town of Tours, you'll find yourself right in the middle of a trail of castles dotting the little villages along the river.
Speaking of castles, these little things right here under the edge of this round tower, I was talking about how that looked cool. Well, come to find out, there's actually holes in there that people could use to throw stuff at attackers through the holes under the edge of this, and it's called machicolation, something like that. I don't know for sure how to pronounce it. I just know because I have another tab up for a Google search. I was actually checking it out. Gonna do a video about that soon too. I like castles, so.
Like the Chateau Chambord, Chateau Chenonceau, and the Chateau Amboise, to name a few. It's also where Leonardo da Vinci lived his last days, in the Chateau de Clos-Luz in Ambrose. You can still visit his home and see his models and life-size pieces throughout the garden.
That's cool. That is very, very cool. That'd be something worth visiting for sure.
When it comes to food and beverages, you'll find local flavors of saffron, walnut oil, flavored vinegars, and black truffles. But my favorites are the rillettes, which is a shredded pork spread that you'd put on your baguette, or the rillons, which are bits of flavorful pork belly. And when you put that together with a local goat cheese and a glass of their regional Sancerre, Chenin Blanc, or a Rosé d'Agneau, you're in for a good time. If you want to visit the Centre Val de Loire, take the 1.5-hour TGV train from Gare Austerlitz in Paris to the Tours train station.
The next region is Corsica, which is the island right off the Côte d'Azur in the Mediterranean Sea. It's known for its stunning landscapes with a mix of mountains and forest and sandy beaches. Imagine a place where you can see high rocky peaks covered in green trees, and then just a short drive away, you're standing on the beach with clear blue water. That's Corsica. The island is a great place for hiking, especially in its famous mountains like Monte Cinto, the highest point in Corsica.
Yeah, that looks ancient. I mean, it just looks, you can just see it's organically grown. It's not a pre-planned city, and I love seeing that because you just do not see that around here. Like this, the way that everything just fits, you know, on the left-hand side along the edge of the cliffs. It's just like, it just fits along it. So then you got the buildings and everything's shaped a certain way, and you got roads it's just really cool.
Also small towns and villages where you can experience the local culture, which is a mix of French and Italian influence. Corsica has a long history with many old buildings and ruins that tell the story of the past. Corsica is known for its unique and delicious food, which is a mix of French and Italian flavors with its own local twist. They have great charcuterie, cured meats like coppa, lonzu, and figatello. And chestnuts is a big deal in Corsica. They grow in abundance on the island and are used to make a variety of food. And since Corsica is an island, seafood is very popular. People enjoy dishes like grilled fish, octopus salad, and bouillabaisse. Now to get there, you can fly directly from Paris or take a TGV train to Marseille and take a ferry to the island.
The next region is a really big one. It borders Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, and Switzerland, and that is the Grand Est. It's also quite diverse because it includes the prestigious and glamorous sub-region of Champagne and the German-based Alsace sub-region. So let's look at the Grand East in two parts. Strasburg is the capital of Alsace and has gone back and forth between French and German rule for centuries. And you
can kind of see it almost has more of like, you can see the difference in style. Like right when they were going through, it just looked a lot different than the style that they were showing previously in the video, and definitely has more of that German.
And forth.
Like, I don't know, just something, these buildings over here on the left still has medieval style. I mean, clearly it's medieval style buildings, but it's different than the other medieval ones, right?
Between French and German rule for centuries. And you can really feel the German influence in the way the language is spoken and with words that you see on signs and menus. And this is true for Colmar and Riquewihr, 2 other cities in Alsace that you really need to know about. You'll see a mix of medieval and Renaissance architecture, brightly colored buildings, and a robust river life. To say they're charming is an understatement.
That looks
Popular
amazing.
Foods in Alsace are the choucroute, which is a sauerkraut dish with bits of pork and a variety of sausages.
Yeah, that sounds German, right?
Served with potatoes and carrots. Or the Flammkuche, which is like a pizza except with a white sauce and bits of thick-cut bacon.
Oh boy, I would love that because I like pizza with a white sauce. We'll get like a chicken bacon ranch. I know ranch isn't popular over there, but it's, you know, with chicken and bacon and basically like this, but with also pieces of chicken on top of, you know, the pieces of bacon. It's great. In a similar style crust. Of course, it's not going to taste anything. I don't know what this tastes like here. I've never had it. This white sauce is probably far superior to the ranch white sauce that I get at a fast food pizza place around here. So I could only imagine how much better whatever I'm looking at would actually be. I'm jealous. That looks amazing.
And of course, pretzels, which they call bretzels with a B.
Yeah, and the pretzel thing, you can tell that's definitely another German influence.
When it comes to cheese, this is where you'll find Munster and Gruyere.
Okay.
And you can wash all of those down with one of their local beers, a Riesling white wine, or the Alsatian version of champagne called Crémant. To get to the Alsace sub-region of Grand Est, take the 2-hour TGV train from Gare de l'Est in Paris to the Strasburg station. For the Champagne sub-region, you may already know what to expect. The capital city is Reims, and they say this is where men go to become kings.
Yeah.
Since 816 AD, 33 of them were coronated here, starting with the son of Charlemagne. This is a regal place surrounded by vineyards producing the king of wines. Until the upper 1600s, grapes grown in the Champagne region made regular flat wine until Dom Perignon, yes, he's a real guy, discovered the modern technique of making the sparkling wine we know today as champagne.
Flat wine, huh? So it didn't have that sizzle to it. Huh. So I wonder if it's anything like what I've had. I've had different kinds of wine. I'm not a wine expert by any means. I just get the cheap, you know, stuff in a box, really. But so, you know, no expert, but I wonder if what I've had is like a flat wine. I mean, it does have some carbonation to it, but you'd think that's a natural carbonation, right? So wouldn't it just always have had that natural carbonation even 1,000 years ago, right? Because it's natural. Huh. Can anybody explain this to me? Because now I'm like super interested.
And of course, since it's a protected appellation, only sparkling wine grown and produced in the Champagne region can be called champagne. Many large houses like Veuve Clicquot, Moet Chandon, Dom Perignon offer tours. And
okay, well, I've had champagne. And so with it being labeled as champagne, it's probably from there then, which I don't like dry, right? Whatever, I think that it's tannins. I think that's what it is, the term that you would use. It's got too many tannins in it, and it makes it have like that dry taste. I don't like that part. I like the sizzle, like the bubbliness of the champagne.
That's pretty cool. But there are also lots of small family-owned houses where you can get more personal experience and often some amazing champagnes. Whether you enjoy your champagne with some fresh fruits, chocolates, and local pink biscuit cookies, or with a charcuterie board with something made with the local black truffles and the fine ham that comes from Reims, you'll make memories to last a lifetime. To get to the Champagne sub-region of Gare de l'Est, take the 45-minute train from Gare de l'Est in Paris to the Reims train station.
Now, the best way to discover all the regions of France is by train.
Oh, yeah.
And when we book our train, we use Trainline because it's super user-friendly and it's the exact same price that
you can just sit back and watch the view.
I'm going to put a link in the description. Check it out and see what kind of pricing you get for the destination you want to go to. The next
Yeah, the thing with the train, you know, you get the scenic route. You don't have to be driving. You don't have to worry about looking at your GPS, fighting with traffic. You get to kick back, enjoy yourself. But I don't know about the black truffle thing that they were talking about earlier. I'm not so sure. I don't even know if I've had black truffle. I just haven't. I've heard it's like one of those things that you would either like love it, right, or absolutely despise it. I think, unless I'm getting it confused with something else. But I think it's like a strong, overpowering taste. But I'm not sure. Just going by what I've seen, videos and whatever, with a messed up memory, might even be thinking of something else.
Next region is Hauts-de-France, which is the region north of the Paris region. This is another place where I spent a lot of time as a kid because my mom was born in Dunkirk. This is also where we live, near the city of Chantilly, in the southernmost part of the region. This region is not high on the list of prime destination for visitors, and that's a mistake because it has a lot to offer. First off, you have Lyon to the north, which is a vibrant and beautiful city. Amiens to the south is home to the largest cathedral in France. So big, in fact, you could put 2 Notre Dame inside the Cathedral of Amiens.
Jeez.
And one of Colleen's favorite castles in France is here, Pierrefonds, which is so iconic it provided inspiration for the Walt Disney classics like Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, that looks really cool. It does have like an iconic castle look. Like that just looks like more of a fancy castle, you know.
And Cinderella. Hauts-de-France is the home of the famous moule frite you'll find in many restaurants all around France. This is where you'll find the iconic maroilles cheese and plenty of great beers. Getting to Lille or Amiens is super easy with daily TGV trains from Gare du Nord, and you'll get there in less than 2 hours.
The next region of France is the Nouvelle-Aquitaine. It's located along the southwest coast of France, bordering on Spain to the south. It's rich with large mountain ranges, fabulous rivers, natural parks, marshes, and a long, beautiful coastline with some world-famous beaches.
You know, and it's crazy because that's going to be such a huge difference than like the, you know, the part they were talking about earlier that was like next to Germany, for instance, right? Like this is such a huge difference. But, you know, again, Spain or France is a pretty good-sized country. And here you got Basque region. Which, fun fact about the Basque region, highest amount of negative blood type people in the world come from there, I'm pretty sure, or one of the highest concentrations. Which I have DNA from the Basque region, actually. When I did the whole 23andMe DNA test thing, it was pretty cool.
Difference in lifestyle and cuisine from the north to the south make this another diverse region. In the north, the place most people are familiar with in the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region is its capital, Bordeaux. This is where you'll find the World of Wine Museum, a thriving art community, a vibrant waterfront, and the kind of up-and-coming life that comes with being a university town. It has a unique and pleasant atmosphere, and I've decided it probably feels how Paris felt back in the 1950s. It's needless to say, the business of wine is at the center of their economy. Most vineyards in nearby towns like Saint-Emilion are large legacy domains. This is not a region for small family producers. You'll see vines from a single domain stretching out as far as the eye can see, but they're definitely worth a visit. Here on the menu, you'll find a world of seafood, especially from the nearby Atlantic, the Gironde estuary, and Arcachon.
She gonna eat all that? I mean, there's 2 people there, her and a cameraman, her and her husband or whatever, but that's still... Maybe most of it's shell. I don't know. I don't eat lobster and stuff. I've had it, but I've never just ate like a full lobster like that. It was just all, it was like prepared, like made in something else. And crab legs. I've had crab legs. Those are good.
Which is famous for its oysters. When you're in Nouvelle-Aquitaine, you should definitely try a seafood platter with shrimps, clams, scallops, crabs, langoustine. But there's also the non-seafood stuff, like wild mushrooms that grow all around, their local lamb, and excellent beef. To visit this area of Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, take the 2.5-hour TGV train from the Montparnasse station in Paris to Bordeaux. The south side of Nouvelle-Aquitaine is heavily influenced by its neighbor, the Pyrenees area of Spain. You can taste it in the cuisine. This is Basque country with their Bayonne-style cured ham and stews baked into little cocotte pots, and especially by the beaches of Biarritz, the surfing capital of France, you'll find lots of flavorful tapas. To get to this part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, take the 4-hour TGV train from Gare Montparnasse in Paris to the Biarritz train station.
Next is the famous region of Normandy. Normandy for many Parisians is what the Hamptons are for New Yorkers. It's about 2 hours from Paris, so it's a quick getaway from the city. But unlike the Hamptons, you'll find plenty of affordable places to have a great time. Of course, the Didet beaches are a must visit. But all along the coast, you'll find gems like medieval city of Bayeux or the quaint seaside port of Honfleur. And don't miss the beautiful city of Rouen with its stunning cathedral and its iconic clock. Of course, the Mont Saint-Michel is on the edge of Brittany and Normandy and is a must-see once in your life. Normandy is cheese and butter country. Here, they produce the world's famous camembert and some of the finest butter in the land. Don't leave Normandy before you have a chance to taste the Calvados apple liquor or the local cider. To get there is super easy. Just take a train from Gare Saint-Lazare and take a 2.5-hour train ride to Caen and rent a car from there so you can jump from one location to another and see it all.
The next region is Occitanie, which runs along the Mediterranean over through Andorra and Spain for the borders. Its capital is Toulouse, but then again, you'll find a broad diversity here, from the cliffs and caverns of Rocamadour to the Gothic cathedrals and neoclassic architecture of Montpellier, or the antiquity and walled city of Carcassonne, the Roman rules of Nîmes, the spiritual pilgrimage of Lourdes, or France's second most visited attraction, the Pont de Gard Aqueduct. This is mountain country. Here you'll find amazing blue cheeses like Roquefort, but also delicious softer cheeses like Rocamadour or Cathar. This is where the classic...
I've had that Roquefort, or whatever it's called, the blue cheese. Not bad. And what is this?
Peasant dish cassoulet with its meat and white beans comes from.
Yeah,
and it's where the gooey half cheese, half mashed potato aligot comes from. And not to...
I've made that on accident. Like I wasn't trying to make that. I don't know how close. I've made mashed potatoes that was like basically almost half cheese before, and it was so good.
Mentioned the Toulouse sausage, which is the closest thing France has to an Italian sausage. For wines from this region, look for Cahors, Languedoc, or the Clarets. To visit the Occitanie region, take the 4-hour TGV train from Gare Montparnasse to Toulouse.
Next is the Pays de la Loire, which is just south of Brittany. It's a great place to visit if you love castles, rivers, and beautiful landscapes. Pays de la Loire is famous for its stunning castles. One of the most famous is the Château de Brissac, which is the tallest castle in France. There's also Château d'Angers with huge walls and a beautiful garden inside. These castles look like something out of a fairy tale. There are charming towns and cities in Pays de la Loire, like Nantes and Angers. Nantes is a lively city with a cool castle, lots of park, and even a giant mechanical elephant that you can ride. Pays de la Loire has delicious food. You can try the rillettes or enjoy fresh seafood from the coast. The region is also known for its wine, especially white wine like Muscadet, which go perfectly with seafood. Besides castles and city, Pays de la Loire has peaceful countryside with vineyards, forests, and rivers. It's a great place to go biking, hiking, or just take a leisurely walk to enjoy the nature around you. This is a...
What is this? What is that? I have no clue.
Another region that is very easy to get to from Paris with a quick 2-hour train ride for the Montparnasse train station to Nantes.
That was cool.
And last but not least, the region of Provence, Côte d'Azur. When you hear about the south of France, this is what people are talking about. Here you'll find the oldest city in France, its capital, Marseille, founded in 600 BC by Greek settlers.
Oh, geez.
And this is a main commercial port for France. But along the coast, heading towards the Italian border, you'll find glamorous jet-set beaches, ports with mega yachts, Mediterranean villages where you can walk through town in your espadrilles and sandals. Find old clay pots and tiles and little boutiques and savor a nice rosé on a delightful terrace. It reminds me of the Steve Martin movie, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Then again, just northwest of Marseille, you'll find the small provincial town of Aix-en-Provence, or the Roman ruins of Arles, or the Palace of the Popes in Avignon. Regardless of where in Provence you find yourself, you won't be far from lavender fields and you will feel the Mediterranean influence. The cuisine is full of dishes with tomatoes and olives and aromatic herbs. After all, this is where ratatouille comes from, and the flavorful bouillabaisse fish stew, or that fabulous garlicky mayonnaise aioli. It's definitely crowded, okay, overcrowded in season, but this is definitely a region of France worth exploring. To visit the Provence-Côte d'Azur region, take the 4-hour TGV train from Gare de Lyon in Paris to Marseille, or the 6-hour TGV train also from Gare de Lyon to Nice.
In this video, we told.
Yeah, that's really cool. So that's like almost like an Italian style influence there. So you got, you know, one side you got Spain influence, the other side you got Italian influence. At the top you got like, you know, your German influence. That's crazy. I didn't realize it was so diverse necessarily. Let's hear what the rest of this guy has, or what this guy has to say for the rest of this.
Told you about the 12 regions of France. Next, I would watch this video, which is all about how to book your train tickets and all about the train stations in Paris.
Well, if you guys want to check that out, like I said, the links to this original video is in the description section down below, so you can jump on over there and find his train video if that's what you want to do. But that was a cool video. I'm just going to end it there because I already said a bunch. You know, nothing else to say except for you guys have a super fun, awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.